calling all misfits, rebels, leaders, and teachers, welcome to the one place where the only way to fit in is by standing out, where big goals are met with even bigger action, and where we talk through, then tackle all things entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Kelsey Knudsen, and this is the Get Shit Done podcast. Welcome to the Revolution. We're going to nerd out a little bit today. And specifically, I want to talk about what KPIs I use to help make my maternity plan happen. I know drawing conclusions between those two things may feel a little bit weird, but the truth is the data I was collecting through KPIs really helped me stay focused and shaped the decisions I made in changing my business to support this human that is coming very soon. I've talked a lot about KPIs. I have not made them cool yet. That's like my life mission, to make KPIs cool. I have more people who know what they are now, or are at least asking about them, but I think a lot of people don't know what to do with them. Cool, I track it. Now what, Kelsey? Today, I want to be honest about here are some numbers that have been happening in my business and what I'm doing about them. Some of it is a me problem. Some of it is a team problem. Some of it is a system problem. And ultimately, all of it needs attention. When it comes to KPIs, key performance indicators, I always track them. I have since the beginning. I've played around with it many times throughout the years. Even when I had a hair salon, I would track different data points to help make decisions as a salon owner. So this is not new news to me. But when it came to planning essentially a 3-month-long vacation from my business, I needed to be really intentional with where time and money and energy was going in the front end of my year, but also after this baby comes. And I leaned on the data to help drive those decisions. And some of it was really humbling. I'm going to share some numbers that I'm not proud of. I think that some of you may listen to this episode and maybe you look at me a little differently. But I also think it's good to be really honest and authentic too. I'm a human too, and I'm still figuring out this business stuff also. And just give some grace, I guess, is my request to you. Give a little grace. What numbers did I track specifically to have awareness of the health of my business, but also informs some decisions that I have made or need to make in the business? Instagram followers. And this has been a freaking journey. I don't even know where to begin with this. I have always in my head had this goal of hitting 10K before the check mark existed, just as a validation of okay, I have reached awareness beyond my physical bubble of people who just know me in the area. And in my head, that number was 10K. Then I went through a season of screw the number. It doesn't matter. It's a vanity metric. But now I'm somewhere in the middle. And the reason is if I just keep selling to the same 5 people over and over again, eventually you're going to stop buying or feel annoyed that I keep selling to you. There is a reality in which having more potential leads as you're growing your business and your offer suite makes sense. Also, it's good to know that this stuff and energy and time I'm putting out there is resonating with people. So it is, to a point, an indication of that working or not working. Now, that being said, I have worked with multiple social media experts who all claim they're going to get me to 10K beyond no problem. It hasn't happened. I could talk more about that some other day. That's not the point of today's conversation, but I have been chilling around 5,000 followers for a year now, maybe 2, and it really hasn't gone up substantially or dipped substantially since then. Since I started tracking KPIs, and then I also shared that KPI with my team, they know that follower count does matter to me, and that is something we want to increase without losing the quality of content we're putting out there, while still being an educational brand, not just an influencer brand. But the data point of how many Instagram followers I started tracking consistently started around fall last year, and I pulled them in March 2025. So my Instagram count went from 5,327 to 5,584. However, I am pretty sure I had a past person buy followers or spam followers, and that's so annoying because I'm still paying the price of that, I think. But that recent growth of just over 200 followers are quality people. They're real people. They're business owners. We have mutual people. They're in their industries that I serve and work with. And so the quality of the people following me is definitely more aligned with what we want, which is great. Even though that number is not where I want it to be honest, I'm happy with it. And I think things are tracking in the right direction. And I know my number is higher than that today, but I don't have that data right in front of me. But that's the truth. My Instagram growth has been slow, but it's good quality. So I will take part of that as a win. I'm tracking podcast downloads. I look every single podcast episode, and it's kind of tricky because podcasts, in my opinion, are like a crock pot. Like they're there a long time. They have a long shelf life. Also, podcasts can be searched, like Google search. Just because someone doesn't listen in the first 7 days doesn't mean that number doesn't go up. I have people who go back to like episode 1, 2, 3 to this day. Capturing that data from a snapshot perspective once a month isn't like the be all end all of everything, but I do look at it. At the end of every month, I go through and I update how many downloads did we have per week, and then what was the best of that month. The best one in October was 58 downloads, and the best in March was 63. Mind you, downloads don't include YouTube. That's a separate data point. But yeah, I'm under 100 downloads per episode on average, and that's shitty because I put so much time and energy into this that it's hard to not look at that number and be a little bit defeated. To remember a couple things. Just because people aren't listening in those first couple days doesn't mean they don't go back and listen. So if I were to pull those numbers again, like if I were to look at March's numbers again today, I can tell you without question, they would be higher. Like 63 would be more than that. But then what am I doing? I'm going back and tracking KPIs 2, 3, 4 months down the road. There's no point in doing that. That's not worth my time. I just like to get a quick snapshot of like what topic is really vibing with people, what one's not. And shocking to nobody, people love the really tactical hot tips, hot take stuff / the extremely personal, nothing to do with business stuff. Two very, very different ends of the spectrum. I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling. And to be honest, here's my mindset. Here's like the real talk. If this number decreases and goes to a point where no one is downloading anymore, maybe it's time to sunset the podcast. But if that number is staying the same and I'm editing it and I'm the one putting the marketing efforts behind it, I'm fine with that for now. The podcast is not my main business. The podcast to me is a piece of the puzzle. It's a way that I can connect with you on a deeper level, and you can get an example of my communication style, my coaching style. You can hear how I talk. You can hear what topics I'm passionate about or educated in. And to me, that is valuable. If someone messages me and has questions about KPIs, I can send them specific episodes that are already done to help support them in that way. And it's a free way I can connect and help people. There's many other reasons to do a podcast beyond just how many people are downloading. But I think most people would be surprised that that's the real data of my podcast. This is embarrassing. I sit here and I picture like Alex Hormozy level content. Not that I am him, but I do see myself at a certain caliber and helping a certain level of entrepreneur, and in business I am. But then I sit here and I'm like, okay, cool. 7 people listen to this episode. It's hard not to take that personally sometimes. The beauty of the podcast is I still enjoy doing it. I love this format. It's a way I can help more people. It's a way I can add some credibility to people. When you say you have a podcast, people take you a little bit more seriously. If I want to do more speaking gigs, I can send them the podcast. They can listen and pick out what topic they feel like would be best to serve their audience. So there's so many other benefits beyond that. I've had people become clients because of podcasts, like come guest on my show and then we talk shop, and then I've signed them into programs or coaching. There's other ROI beyond downloads, but I would be dishonest to say like, yeah, no, I wish more people listened consistently. I do. And I'm aware of it, but I'm not obsessive about it. So that's an honest KPI. Let's talk about email. This is like a roast Kelsey episode via KPIs, but it's true. My email game was sucking. I went from not consistent at all, pretty much was like quiet for a year, to, okay, we need to serve people in this other way. Also, email's a great way to remind people, hey, did you check out this week's podcast episode? So it has its place. I was doing it consistently, and then it was a lot of work to like format it and put it together and come up with the copy and everything. Then I thought, who has a newsletter that Kelsey, really like format wise? And James Clear, he's the guy who wrote Atomic Habits, if you've read that book. I love his style of communication, and he has a format that he follows. It's called 3-2-1. It's, I don't know, like 3 observations, 2 thoughts or questions, and then 1 quote. Like it's the same formula every single newsletter. And I love just how clean that is. So I made a Kelsey version and people did not like it. I'm laughing, but it's like so bad. Literally so bad. I was losing at least 1% of people per newsletter. And transparently, I'm looking at the data, 361 people were subscribed. I want to say starting fall 2024. Now, still having people hop in we're only at 378. And I can tell you that that number is that low because we would gain people, but we'd be losing people just as quick. And I share that KPI because it sucks. Because guess what? Who wrote the newsletter? Me. Who designed the format? Me. I even went a step further and I'm like, who is unsubscribing? Because there is a point where maybe they're just not my people. Like maybe they're not an ideal client. Maybe they don't have a business. Nope. These are my people. These are people who were part of Get Shit Done Club. These are people who were a part of Empower. These are clients who are unsubscribing. The point of this is not like, if your client stays subscribed to my email list, that's not what I'm saying. But it just means that this format was not working. It wasn't a me problem. It wasn't that like they don't like me or my messaging as a whole. It was the specific format of email was not working. Therefore, I had to change it. I changed it in like February. The entire month of March, I didn't lose a single subscriber with the new format. And guess what? I used ChatGPT to help me write my newsletters. They're inspired by the podcast episodes. The copy actually didn't really change. It was literally just the format. And also coaching my GPT to be like, no, I want this to feel like a love letter that I'm writing to my audience and like a specific person versus tactical tips, takeaways. Bleh. And it's crazy how that one shift, just the format, is now working. These KPIs should shed light and awareness on specific areas in your business that you can then fix. The follower count issue. I wish I could pull up today's numbers because I know I'm past 5,584 today. And I've just really, really honed in even more so. Who am I specifically speaking to? I've made a commitment to myself to share more in stories. You're sharing in stories and you see your view count go down and it doesn't feel good that like less people want to see my stuff. So you stop and hide. No, there's times I double, triple down on those days, or I just let it reset and then I'm more intentional the next day. Because I track these KPIs, I'm able to make real-time adjustments that are working, that are growing. That's why I wanted to share this episode with you, because these KPIs can be a tool just in general business, but especially in a season where I have to be so intentional, like so intentional with my time, my money, my energy, etc. The KPIs are driving those decisions. The KPI that I always track, obviously, is revenue. And transparently, I wrapped in 2024 around 150 in business, and that was after a miscarriage and the early stages of this pregnancy. I give myself a lot of grace. I'm proud of that number. Like I feel validated to a point with that number, but I want to double it this year. And I think I'm going to. I've shared this before, but instead of planning out, my goal is to make $500,000 and then you divide up $500,000 divided by 12, divided by how many days a week. I did not do it that way. I did it that way just to see what math that would be. I just went month by month and I said, okay, what is my real honest capacity this month? What offer am I shedding light on or actually launching or promoting? How many spots do I have available? How many VIP days do I have on the calendar? And when I just went offer by offer like that, okay, maybe if 4 people sign up for the mastermind, okay, what about if 5 people hop into boot camp? Things like that. That is the way I approached it. And then I added up that big number at the end of the year and it came to double. So 300,000 for 2025. If I just follow that plan, that was pretty mind blowing because that's including a maternity leave. I will definitely report back because I think some of this is going to be reliant on how I wrap the year. I don't know today, how that's going to go, but I have things set up to where that feels like doable, which is crazy to say out loud. In looking at those numbers, and there's other numbers I track too, but like those ones specifically, here is what it told me. My return on investment was off. If my goal was social media, specifically in the podcast, was growth, I want to get in front of, the goal was 10K Instagram followers, and the goal was 100 downloads per episode via podcasting platforms, and then 100 downloads per episode via YouTube. And after, I think it was 7 months, we were halfway there, just over halfway there. The numbers, it's not there. It's not happening. And though financially, that was a huge piece of the decision making, as well as my personal ability to execute on this new demand. If all the marketing stuff was working, realistically too, the growth wasn't happening in 7 months. Not that I'm wanting overnight success, but I was very clear on what our KPIs were and where we wanted to be in 7 months. And we just were not making enough progress. That sucks because then you have to dig deeper and be like, okay, if we're not at 10K followers on Instagram, is it because of our target market that we're trying to reach? Is it the type of content? Is it the time of day? Is it the trending audio? Is it the algorithm? Is it the Canva versus the reel? You can nitpick all that stuff all day long, but I've been doing my own content now for 2 months. We're growing faster than we were previously. I think a big piece of it is me really, really hammering down on the strategy side of things. Done is not good enough for me. Like, I am not someone who's like, oh, we just need to post just to post. I put so much intention, probably to a fault, in my content that I'm like, this is the piece. If you don't read anything but this one piece of content, I want you to leave that like inspired, clear, motivated, called out, have a visceral reaction to every single piece of content that I make, which takes a lot of time and energy on the back end to create that. I just care at that level. I can't not do it that way. Because I have full control over it, I've been able to do that. And then I pay attention. I've been playing around this last month. The platform I use to schedule shows most popular Instagram times for your audience per day, and it varies vastly per day, like 7 a.m., 3 p.m., like all over the board. I thought, for the entire month, I'm just going to post my content during those peak hours. And I can tell you right now, that is not the move for me and my business. Doesn't make sense. But I wanted to like see the experiment through all the way. I'm going to look back on the data and really see what is that optimal time, and probably commit to that or close to that, because there's such a difference between posting stuff in the morning to afternoon. And then it's hard because there's a lot of variables, but I'm really treating it like a full-blown science experiment. And it feels really good to have the closeness to the content to where if I see something not working, I can change it. And I shared last week that I'm making some shifts on my Instagram strategy specifically. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out for this month as well. My ROI was off. Looking at KPIs led to letting my marketing team go with love. If they are listening, they're great people. What service they do best and what I needed to get to that next level of growth in my business, which was specifically growing follower count and downloads. It wasn't happening. And I was spending money and it just wasn't happening at a rate that could outpace me. So it makes sense for me to just take on that extra time and responsibility. If I'm able to beat that growth rate, then I'm saving money in my overall business. And that's the right decision for now, which it is for now. The other thing I learned, this is crazy. I had a freebie for a year and a half called Get Shit Done Club. You may not even know it existed. It was a weekly call for accountability. We used to be a Facebook group. Facebook group just was not engaging. Then we moved to just a weekly Zoom with like an email. So you were tagged as Get Shit Done Club and you would get a weekly email. Hey, reminder, we have a call. We're talking about this. Get Shit Done Club was just a book club for the podcast. Topic wise, I would organize the topics to frame around what the podcast episode was. So I wasn't having to reinvent the wheel. At the most, I could be wrong, but I feel like at the max, we had 56 people sign up for this freebie in a year and a half. Then we launched KPI or Die. I have 100 people sign up in less than a month. Both of these things are free. Both of them come with calls and proximity to me. And it's crazy. And I share this KPI because KPI is so specific. Get Shit Done is so broad. And I think a lot of us think if we're broad, we can reach the masses, we can help more people. But I actually think this is a great lesson in that by being specific, it actually made it easier to convert. And I know it's a free thing, but I mean, you've probably signed up for free stuff. Like you're opting into that. You're having to take action, click buttons, put your name in your email, check your email. Like there are steps of consent that you are giving along the way to where you are still making some kind of investment of your time. To me, I knew going into it KPI would be good just because I was very passionate about it and I knew it would be a valuable tool, but I definitely did not think it would be that level of success. And so I'm so happy with it. I have very big picture, long-term ideas with it, but it's a great starting indication that that was the right move. By tracking how many people were tagged with Get Shit Done Club, and it was like going up 1 or 2 people per month, it just was not growing. And then you look at how much time that is of me every single week sitting on a Zoom with the same couple people who are already in other groups or working with me, already connected to me in other ways. The ROI of my time just was not there, and KPI filled that gap beautifully. And I'm really excited to share more about that down the road. It was cool to come to that realization, and it wasn't until I started really tracking my time and how many people were tagged with that to have the data to back up that decision. But it definitely is the move. And like I said, I'm curious to see where it goes, and I will share more as that comes. By tracking content, not only like how many people are following, but tracking what reels get the most comments or engagement or shares or likes, it gave me permission to play. Because if I really want to figure out this platform, I need to genuinely put my reps in and try different things and pay attention to the patterns and what works and what doesn't. I know for a fact my best air quotes performing content is always anything with Matt in it, go figure, and anything like pregnancy, personal, like not to do with business, which is great to use as leverage points sporadically in my marketing. But if I only did just that and took away all of the business stuff, eventually I wouldn't have a business. I would just be an influencer. And not that that's a bad thing, but if I, at the end of the day, want to grow my business, I still have to have my business in it. And I still have to find a way to convert you and people watching my stuff to say like, okay, that post with Matt is funny. However, I loved your KPI conversation over here too. That is my mindset and my approach. That's the numbers I'm paying attention to, are the patterns beyond the personal stuff that I know does well, the provocative stuff that I know does well, what other patterns exist. That way I can continue to repeat those things and grow the business in that way. I made some strategic business decisions based off these KPIs. Big one was my time. Social media was low on my priority list for a while because quote unquote, I didn't have the time or interest. And AI has helped me be more efficient with it. Having a brand strategist helped me be more clear with it. So instead of like, okay, I need to post something, what do I post? That doesn't exist. And those two things combined. And also, I will say, cleaning out my offers and having crystal clear, like, these are my offers, take or leave it. That like trifecta gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I know how to tackle my content now. And I actually kind of enjoy the process and it's working. And people are commenting or they're seeing it or they're laughing or they're sharing it, whatever. I think that all came together beautifully. And again, the KPIs were the backbone of that because it wasn't until I started digging in and then owning it that I realized this is partially a me problem. If the strategy was off before when I had a team, that's not them, that's me. And I got to own that. I am a huge fan of KPIs, obviously, but my mindset in the last, I would say like 6 to 7 months was really what decisions and shifts do I need to make in my business to support this new life, literally, and being real, what is working and what is not working. What is working is authenticity. It is confidence. It is call to action, not just saying like it's enough to connect with people, like really directing them to a call to action to work with me. It is adjusting things and paying attention to patterns, and it's ease, like creating more ease in my business, whether that's through automations or tabling offers or decreasing clutter or changing my schedule. All of those things have been really top of mind and reinforced by the KPIs that I track. Those are the current ones that really told me a story to make some changes in my business. And now my big next one is, where do we go from here? Once this baby comes, like, what do I want my schedule to be? What offers do I want to have? Like I said, I have it like penciled out, but I'm not married to it. And I'm just excited to see what life looks like on the other side of this. I know some things are probably going to shift, but I know one thing is not. And I know that the KPI club is here to stay. But if you're listening to this and a couple little examples of how to use KPIs to make decisions, maybe opened up your eyes to a whole new world you didn't know existed in business, I invite you to join the club. We meet monthly. It's a Zoom. When you sign up for KPI Club, you get my personal tracker that I have built that has formulas in it and is preset for you to tweak a tiny bit to fit your business. It comes with a how-to video of how to actually use the tracker. Then our monthly calls are all around your KPIs. We meet May 14th at 9 a.m. PST. That's our next club meeting. I want people to like talk about this stuff. At the end of the day, if you track your stuff and you pay attention to the patterns and then you add the context of how did it make you feel and like, did that number hit your goal, but also what else happened because of it? And if all of that aligns, you're going to make more confident and better decisions in your business versus letting your business just tell you what to do. And I think that's the coolest part about KPIs. And again, I'm in a season where I'm always mindful, but I'm extremely mindful right now of what they tell me and then acting on it. It gives you clarity on what shit to do. To me, it's the precursor to get shit done. If you are interested in joining us, just click the link in the show notes, which is kelseymarieknudsen.com/KPI or die. Definitely let's stay connected. I can't wait to see you on Zoom. I think it's going to be awesome to have an entire conversation just around this stuff and continue to make it a normal part of running a business. Because if it's not, it should be. I highly encourage you to look at your data if you're not already, and I can help you with that if you don't know how. Thanks for being a part of the Get Shit Done revolution. My hope is this episode sparked a fire in you, equipped you with some practical next steps, or inspired you to take action towards your goals. If it did, please help spread the word by sharing this episode or leaving a review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're tuning in. Now it's time for me to hand over the keys and let you get shit done.